Hello everybody, welcome again. And I want to welcome my guest, Mr. Karim. I will first start with having an introduction, then we could continue talking further. So please introduce yourself.
Good morning, Mr. Ramin. Thank you for having me, and good morning to your viewers. My name is Abdul Karim Reha. I'm originally from Afghanistan. I've been living in Uzbekistan for past 2.5 years right now. Here I am.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you for coming. Now, from Afghanistan, that's country next door, of course, and a very interesting place. Please tell us a little bit about Afghanistan and how did you come to Uzbekistan afterwards?
Well, we share a very common value and common culture, and we're neighbors. We share a border as well. So obviously, Uzbekistan is like a second home for me, and I felt home here, so I decided to come here 2.5 years ago just to visit. But when I came here, I just fell in love with it, with the people, with the culture and everything. I just fell home and I decided to open a business over here.
Very nice, very nice. So you're doing business now?
Yep, currently I have a hostel and a real estate company. Okay. So that's what keeps me busy here right now.
All right, all right. Now, of course, from 2.5 years ago, the real estate situation kind of have changed. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that business and how that changed and what kind of people are coming more and more to Uzbekistan?
Well, Uzbekistan is in a step of growth right now. So as you can see, we have a lot of tourists coming, plus a lot of investors. The current president did an amazing job.
That's right.
Bringing lots of businesses in, and the real estate is blooming right now. It's everybody's investing, and as we can see, the high-rise buildings, there are so many of them, and so many will come in the future. And at this moment, my business is not to build like buildings, but it's more like budget villas, but as a price of apartment. So what we provide is in a state of like you buying an apartment to be locked in one apartment. What we do is we actually give you a villa that has all the facilities you need and not even destroying the ecological place or anything. So you have a pool and everything, but at the price of an apartment.
Wow, that's very good. I think that's kind of a Western model that you're following.
Yep.
Very good, very good. Now, the other thing is that a lot of people, when they think about Afghanistan, they don't think about, I don't know what they think about, but you speak English very well and all of that. So tell us, where did you learn English and how many languages do you know?
Well, English is kind of very common in Afghanistan, as you have seen. Like, we have 21 years of like countries like staying in Afghanistan, so obviously that was a bigger part. And another thing is like we're taught English from childhood and at schools. So I've been learning and practicing English for like over all my life as much as I remember.
Nice. And so aside from English, what else? What other language do you speak?
I do speak Hindi. I speak English, Farsi, which is obviously the language from Afghanistan, and Pashto, and a little bit of French.
Oh, vous parlez français?
Je parle français, un peu français donc. And I do speak, I've learned, I would say, like Uzbek a little bit and a little bit of Russian, just to survive. And,
all right,
that's it.
All right, wow, so about 6 languages here and there, 7 languages. Yes.
Almost.
Very good, very good. Now, I know that you're an outdoors person. You go outdoors and you do fitness and things like that. Tell us about, you have taken part in some of the national competitions. Tell us about that a little bit.
Yes, it's been a big part of my life, fitness. I remember the first time I joined a sport event, it was like when I was 14 years old, so I've been always out in sport, fitness, and that kept me really like motivated. And plus I love nature and I love hiking. I've been to pretty much all the mountains around Uzbekistan. I've hiked all of them. And my favorite one is definitely like the one Badak Lake and Big Chimgan.
Nice.
And sport events, I'm into wrestling and of course CrossFit. I've been partaking in most of the competitions in Uzbekistan, which are BFIT race or either it's the Uzbek race. And I love it. I've been doing a lot lately, especially in sport.
Wow. Now, you have a couple of businesses, and of course, all of these businesses require a lot of time and energy, and now you're so active physically as well. How do you manage all of this?
Well, time management is something very important to me. So what I've learned from my life is like always have a plan, but be flexible. So I have a plan, but I'm very flexible when I'm managing my time. And I wake up very early and I sleep pretty late, and I make sure that I give time for myself and for my business at the same time. Both are very important part of my life.
Wow, that's a philosophy that you see, time management is something that a lot of people struggle with because they don't really have, I would say, that discipline.
Yep.
To have time for businesses and time for fun, business and
Yep.
pleasure and all of that. So it is good that you have actually acquired that discipline early in your life. Now, could you tell us something about, you have been to different nature places. So and you mentioned some of your, Chimgon, that's your favorite ones. But is there something memorable about going out, like a story or something to nature in Uzbekistan and seeing something that you was like, wow, this is great, and you're just mesmerized by it? I know I am. So
yeah, as you can see on my smile, like the moment you just say the story. Actually, there was a time we were hiking with some friends to Badak Lake. We almost were reaching out to our destination, and a friend of mine from back, she was from England, said like, Karim, there's something moving around the mountain. I said, well, it could be, it's a dry land, nobody's here, so except us hiking. It's like, no, there's a bunch of things I can see moving. And then I'm like, there's nothing. So the more we got closer, we saw there were like a bunch of wolves passing by.
Casually passing wolves
passing by. They were just curious. That,
wow.
So obviously some guys scared, but as from my experience, if you get scared, then you cannot move forward. They will attack you. So I told them just stay calm and keep going. So the more we got closer, the more they start going back. So we saw like a pack of wolves. So that was the greatest experience and amazing story. I still carry on with
that
me.
is dangerous, because if a pack of wolves coming at you or just looking at you, maybe they didn't think that you're prey, but yeah, it's very dangerous. Wow, and that's amazing too, because it's wildlife. I mean, wolves are amazing.
That was beautiful though. That was beautiful.
Wow. All right, so let's now, for all the young entrepreneurs out there or people who want to get into business, what are some of the things that you recommend for them that they should do to become a successful entrepreneur, let's just say the way you are?
There are a few steps to become an entrepreneur. I'll give them a few steps. What are those? Our first one is obviously create a plan, but be flexible. The second one is, another one is prepare to make sacrifices. Third one is to find a mentor that gives you proper advice. And then obviously you have to embrace feedbacks and learn from your mistakes. And financially, you need to understand the financial aspect of your business, what's the value of it, and be persistent and trust yourself. Be persistent and trust yourself, and at the end, just create and execute your plan.
Wow, I mean, that's very, very wise. And may I ask, do you recommend any sites, any books, or some mentors that you follow in terms of entrepreneurship that you would recommend to people?
I definitely like the story of Jack Ma. Obviously, the book for Jack Ma is very motivational.
From Alibaba,
from
for
Alibaba,
people who don't know, yes,
the Alibaba founder. That's something I've read, and I really like his story.
Wow. Okay. Jack Ma, I think was 15 or 16 times he wanted to go to Harvard, and he applied, and he failed until he got it.
Yeah, he even applied for a fast food chain, but he couldn't get a job. But today he's a billionaire.
That's right. Not just a billionaire, multi-billionaire.
Multi-billionaire.
Yeah, definitely.
He's persistent.
So, what's the future looks like for you?
I can't really predict the future, but the only thing I know is that I'm very persistent and I trust myself, and I know the value of myself and I know the value of business, so I work hard on it. Just like we talked about it earlier, time management is a big thing. So if I can manage my time and I can pay attention to my business, that's the most important part. No matter how big is any business, but still you gotta look after it.
How big or how small?
How small it is. Still, you have to look after it. Nobody's gonna look after it.
That's true. That's true. You need to do all of that.
Yep.
So I think one of the other questions that I have for you is like, I know that I'm sure you have seen the world in some places. Tell us some of the countries that you have seen.
Luckily, I was quite lucky in life that I traveled to around 17 countries.
17. Wow.
Yeah, and one of my favorites was Madagascar.
Oh wow.
It falls on the eastern side of Africa.
It does. Yes.
It's absolutely beautiful. The nature and the country, the people. It's absolutely amazing.
Wow.
So I've been to Madagascar, Seychelles, mostly the islands because I'm kind of like a nature guy. So I've been to most of the island countries like Maldives, Seychelles, Madagascar, Gabon, and mostly in Africa, and then India. I finished my studies from India, so yep, that's about all.
Wonderful. Well, that's just about time that we have. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for
And
inviting me and having me here.
Lovely, and hopefully we'll invite you again. Bye-bye,
Thank you very
everybody.